Joining us now with more on the conflict in the Knesset, Marc Schulman, columnist for Newsweek and the editor of HistoryCentral.com. Marc, thank you so much for being with us. Now, first, break it down for us. What are the specifics of this proposal that the Prime Minister's Likud party is promoting? That just failed to pass.
Okay, this was a bill that was presented by Smotrich from the Yamina party, and the bill would begin a parliamentary investigation on the potential conflict of interests among the Supreme Court justices. Now, it was an attempt to sort of pressure the Supreme Court justices, in the midst of all the issue of judicial activism that the right wing claims, and of course the trial of Prime Minister Netanyahu coming up. Now, Netanyahu promised not to pass such measures. That was part of the agreement with the Blue and White, and Blue and White went into the coalition partially to stop any sort of measures that would weaken the judiciary. So that's what this whole thing was all about, and it created a big tempest in the Knesset yesterday with let's put it this way, the heat was very high amongst the various, between the Blue and White and Likud, and of course Smotrich, who did this all to create controversy at the time. It's one of those issues that 99% of Israelis couldn't care less about right now, but it was a political maneuver. It was an attempt to weaken Blue and White a little bit as well. It backfired because in the end the law failed to pass.
All right. Well, oddly enough, members within the coalition, like you said, Interior Minister Aryeh Deri from the religious Shas party, and many from alternate Prime Minister Benny Gantz's Blue and White party were the biggest opponents to this proposal. Members of the opposition, meanwhile, seem to make up the brunt of those who were favoring the measure. Why is that?
Okay, it's complicated. First of all, it was not approved as a coalition measure, so the coalition divided in half. Aryeh Deri was the most angry about it because he saw this as an attempt to break up the coalition, and he himself had given his personal guarantee that the Likud and Netanyahu wouldn't try to break up the coalition, and he was very, very angry at Netanyahu for even trying such a maneuver. The opposition was divided. I mean, the Yamina was the ones who started this. The Yamina is very much anti-judiciary. In the end, both the Arab parties as well as Yair Lapid's party all voted against it as well and made sure it would not pass because, again, this was against judiciary, and Yair Lapid's party, as well as even the Arab parties, are very much in favor of a strong judiciary as a sort of method of holding the government into with some sort of responsibility.
So it's not maybe that members of the opposition, including, for example, the Yamina party, were they also trying to kill the coalition, knowing that this would
they're trying to create as much controversy as possible. Look, the Yamina is trying to show that they're further right-wing than the Likud, and one of the things that the very much right-wing activists, it's a small percentage of people who care about this, one of their strong points is that the judiciary is too activist and the judges are too left-wing. Now, of course, this is after many, many years when Eyal was responsible for helping pick judges, and no one thinks that the new judges that have been picked have been particularly right-wing, but they certainly follow the law. And that's a problem often, as we've seen in places where people are trying to impose stronger government, the stronger government, quote-unquote, versus the law that exists.
All right. Marc, this is, as you said, I'm glad you were here to shed some light on this because this is a really complicated, weird mix-up going on in the Knesset between the different parties. But thank you for your insights.
My pleasure.